Hello.
Look at all these comics.
Oh my god, I don't know if they can see them. But this is the Sidekick podcast. Weekly poll. And we have a big fucking stack of comics.
Wondering what I'm gonna find on Wednesday. Living between Wednesdays. They say never buy your comics in the rain. Living between Wednesdays. Without a good supply of polyurethane. Living between Wednesdays. Checking every rack so carefully.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some DC stuff finally.
Yeah, just a big...
Just real quick before we don't get DC stuff anymore.
So yeah, this is the third week that comics have been back in circulation, and the past 2 weeks of our piles have been a little smaller, but we got a lot of comics this week, which is lovely. A few different issue ones, a few continuations of series that were ongoing before circulation stopped. We got some cool trades. It's a good week for comic books.
It's a good day to be a nerd.
Yeah.
So issue ones, I guess, is where we should start, because that's what we used to do.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had...
In the before times.
When's the last time we had like multiple issue ones to pick from?
Oh, good. I don't know.
10 weeks.
Yeah, it's...
A few months.
Yeah.
A few months. But let's brush off our brains and remember what comics were like.
Back in the good old days.
In the arcs of February.
Yeah. Anyway,
Basically.
Harrison, did you read an issue one that you liked?
I did. I think I'm gonna pick out of the ones... You know what? I gotta talk about Ludocrats.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Ludocrats.
I also liked it.
Ludocrats is, oh gosh. It's basically just ludicrous aristocrats doing high society things, I think
They
is the
attend
gist
a
of it.
wedding, and
Yeah.
then they attend the party after the wedding, where everyone arrives late because they're high society, fashionably late. And then they do ridiculous shit.
Yeah, like when you look at the bare bones, like what happens, it's a bunch of high-level aristocrats going to a wedding and then going to an after party. That's what happens. And then there's some people attack them. But what is unique about the world of Ludocrats is they're all really over-the-top, ridiculous, ludicrous. And if you're boring, if you're not ludicrous enough, it seems like you sort of get kicked out of the society, or
You
your
get
assets.
canceled.
Yeah, your assets get handed to other more ludicrous aristocrats. It's just like a cacophony of nonsense, which I was really surprised to see that Kieran Gillen, however you say his name, wrote it, because I've read Die is his ongoing like dark fantasy D&D comic. He wrote a really good 25-issue run on Darth Vader, and this was just so...
Also,
Once in Future Past is him, right?
Once in Future, and he did Wicked and Divine.
Right. So
Yeah.
I was...
His worlds usually like adhere to like some pretty strict rules and have like an undertone of like sinister.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more like almost like a I Hate Fairyland, Bully Wars, Scotty Young ridiculous thing.
Yeah, I read it, I loved it, and then saw the credits at the end, and I was like, no way he wrote this. It's so vastly different from his other works that I've read, which is great. I think it speaks to his scope as a writer. But every character in this is just super colorful, over the top. The first splash page, I love the quote. The quote at the top you get is, "We tried to imagine a better world. We failed. Instead, we did this."
That's a hell of an opening
Yeah,
line
and-
and a hell of an
And
opening
then
page.
yeah, the first page is the main character covered in blood and completely naked.
A little bit of man.
Not even a little bit. Like you can see his whole dick from behind
Oh,
his
yeah.
ass, which is kind of to me like the tits and ass pose, but with a
That's
dude.
right. Yeah, you see all of it.
Yeah,
Look at that.
boob, butt, dick, all somehow. I hope that
Three
was
equality points right
yeah.
there.
This guy and Michael Fassbender, you can see their penises from behind them.
Also, apparently, Willem Dafoe.
I'm Wayne Dafoe, most likely. I haven't seen that yet,
But we've all heard.
but I haven't seen full nudity in of Willem
We've
Dafoe yet.
heard.
Back to formula.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are some things that happen in Ludocrats? We get
The color spectrum's ridiculous.
the
Yeah.
the colors are beautiful. We see a wedding, and every character in the wedding is just. There's a guy in a suit with a fishbowl for a head. There's like a Kermit the Frog. There's robots. There's a guy on like an old school like, what do you call it? That's not a cross, that's an X. But like, what media have you seen people strung up like that before?
Oh, that is a medieval torture device.
Yeah.
With the rack, I think, when they hang them up and they twist them and they snap them.
Yeah, like that's what someone in the audience of the wedding party is wearing.
Yeah.
And there's...
The main character just kind of wants to, like, get drunk and fuck.
But
he's been snorting snake venom all day.
He's looking for a suitable mate, and he's like, but, like, someone that I want to fill with my seed would need, like, loins of steel. And then a lady who's, like, made of steel, and
She's
there's a
part
furnace
trained.
shows up.
Oh, she has, instead of a corset, it's like the vents of a furnace.
Yeah.
It's stellar character
I
design.
wish I read this now.
It's really fun.
It's not too late.
I was too busy reading Faithless.
But, yeah, and then the party afterwards is in, like, a thought space, so they're just, like, flying around and conceiving things.
Yeah.
It's just a wacky thing. They reference lots of, like, things in their own history that are just strange.
I mean, I'm a
words.
little bit jealous of the artist for this, in that most of it takes place in a thought space where it's just characters floating around, and
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that takes the pressure off.
Yeah, they're just floating around like in Cerebro, basically.
Yeah,
But-
which is fun.
You get squids with syringes for arms. It's definitely a feast for the eyes of character designs. Just lots of ridiculous character models flying around and yelling at each other about who's crazier and who's more boring, and
And it ends with a mystery.
Ooh. So yeah, Ludocrats is just like a colorful, wacky good time. It's definitely not kid friendly. It's kind of a kid might see this cover. Ooh. But like also censorship is lame. So like let your kids read it. They're gonna find it out one day. That's my opinion. Yeah, Ludocrats. Bam.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have something that's like nonsensical and funny to start off with.
You always
as like,
need one of those in your repertoire.
Yeah.
just like a silly comic you're reading, you're having a good time reading it.
Yeah, what was that? Was Assassination Nation?
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah,
It
that's
was just
fun.
like, fuck Tarkington.
Fuck Tarkington.
Oh, fuck Tarkington.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like to have one of those in my list, just
need-
like
you need one.
a romp.
Yeah, it's
And
not.
project, you need one.
I'm sure it's not going to be like the Butcher of Paris when it comes to winding plot mysteries, but like it's a hell of a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe it will. Maybe I'll be surprised. But yeah, I really liked it. It was just a fun time and I laughed a lot.
Yeah.
I like doing that.
That's great.
Chris, any standout number ones for you this week?
Yeah, and actually, I didn't think this would be anything for me, and then I was pleasantly surprised by the Adventure Man #1 that we got this week. So, this is a Matt Fraction book, so I shouldn't really be surprised. Terry Dodson does the art, and it is crazy good. Muted color palette, sort of like a classic look, very like Adam Hughes.
Makes me think of Rocket Man.
Yeah, and it's like, it's done that way, but it's not that type of book. Her son is obsessed with Adventure Man, which is an old-timey adventure, kind of like Rocket Man, but his adventures just kind of pit her off, and they don't really explain that outside of they're going through like his favorite stories about him, and it just ends because like it would eventually just end for this guy who doesn't seem to be a fictional character in this universe. Like he once lived and protected the city and all this stuff. And her son's sort of getting to an age where he's gonna have to learn that about his heroes, that like eventually, whatever. So she comes from a big family, and part of her family. So the book like begins with just the adventure of Adventure Man in like great detail.
Which they hoodwinked me. I thought
Yes.
that was the story we were in for. We met like a whole super team, a whole villain team.
Yeah.
They were all talking. I'm like, oh my god, I already can't keep track of who's who.
Yeah, but you're not meant to. It's supposed to be like the culmination ending of like a great saga,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't really establish that well, so yeah, it does kind of feel like you're walking in on something. When you get to the point where it's a storybook, you're like, oh, okay. But it does go on for a long time. This is a super-sized issue. It's like doubly long.
It's a beefy book.
So for half of it, you're in that world, and for the other half, you're introduced to your main characters. So like, I totally understand why someone would be like, woof, this is a lot.
But still, big beefy book, $3.99 cover price.
Insane. So I like that about it for sure. I also liked, so there's a part in this book, and I had to like reference exactly how the game works, but when her entire family is together and they're eating dinner together, and it's a Friday.
The weekly Shabbat dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Then they have to play high-low adventure. So you have to say a high point in your day, a low point in your day, and some type of adventure or thing that you learned. And she uses her hearing aid as an excuse as to why she can't listen in and play, even though it's really just that she just wants to like live a quiet life and not talk to her family, not participate in anything, just take care of her dead mother's bookstore and hang out with her cat.
I gotta say, for someone who works in like an old bookstore, they live in a mansion.
I think
They
they
have such
all
a-
live there though.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That was sort of the implication, like how many rooms there are and how loud it is.
Oh, okay.
Right? And how many artifacts they have. It seems like, you know, like they all lived there together.
Also, maybe I just missed something, but to me, one of the mother looks the exact same as one of the characters we meet in the Adventure Man book. Is she?
It's not clear.
Okay, I was hoping that was the case, and I didn't just miss something because the mother looks exactly like one of the fictional Adventure
Yeah.
Man characters we meet, and I'm like, was this actually her previous life, or is it?
And is that why her daughter is so determined to stay out and not participate in life? Like, we don't know, and it's implied that there was an accident and that's what made her deaf, but we also don't know that either.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of unknowns, but a lot of intrigue. Like, it ends at sort of like a point where something strange in the neighborhood, and perhaps the Adventure Man story wasn't finished. Yeah. So we don't know what's happening. There's a lot going on in this book. It's super duper long, but for like $4, that's insane.
It's a good
So
good $4
good.
investment for
It's
sure.
good. It's an insane value for a book this beautiful and this packed with story. I'm so excited to read the next issues. And if you like sort of like adventure stories that are rooted in reality somewhat, with a colorful cast of characters, this is a good one.
And it does. You can check off your Skybeam counter if you keep one of those.
Skybeam?
Is a Skybeam.
Why didn't you all, any of you tell me? You know how I feel about Skybeams. What color was it? Don't say blue.
They're always blue.
I think it was blue.
They're always blue.
There was definitely like white center with blue emanating, but that's
It's all right.
it's always a blue Skybeam.
All
Yes.
right. I'll read it later, I guess.
Jay.
I really like Batman: The Adventure Continues. They got Alan Burnett, and they brought back Paul Dini from the Batman animated series, and it is Ty Templeton does the art, so it kind of has that season 4 look. And by kind of, I mean it exactly does. And it looks like they're going to do a X-Files, where it's just like singular monsters of the week, issue by issue, but there will be an overarching story that goes with them, so you can pick up number 3 and be okay, and then there'll be a little cliffhanger at the end. Hopefully leading to something like that. But it fits right back in. Like, I feel like it's just like if there was a season 5 of Batman the Animated Series, it would be this.
Question: what is the original rating of? Was it like an E for everyone show? It wasn't like a PG-13
No, they
show, right?
were guns. Like this was before they even had ratings on the.
This
I
is
was
very, very PG.
That's the thing,
Yeah.
is though, but it says rated PG-13 on the front, which does not I don't think it has anything.
It's
that
a little
warrants that.
more adult. I think there's a curse out from somebody.
Yeah, there's a
said-
bleeped
yeah,
out
there's a
curse
bleeped
word
out
for
curse.
sure.
So like they're
Yeah, but there's nothing in here that I would say is too much.
Yeah.
no, there's like
There's nothing in here that is more obscene than anything happened in the Batman animated series.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
It's wordy.
It's a
But
little.
that's all I'll
It's
say.
a little wordier. There's probably some themes. There's like a drunk ex-girlfriend in there and stuff. Like they wouldn't have that in the Fox Saturday morning cartoon block. but like it's nothing too. It was nothing outside of that realm. I'm curious to see where it goes because it looks like they're continuing the Rogues Gallery and inserting it into the Batman animated verse, the Bruce Timmiverse, I guess they call it.
Which is now a very naked universe.
Yeah, he really likes ladies in like Betty Page outfits.
I would say he doesn't like ladies.
He likes to see them.
Yes.
Other books too.
We also got other books.
Other books. I want to talk
Other
about
books, too.
Deadpool. We got an ongoing Deadpool that written by Kelly Thompson. Chris Bacalo is the usual artist. We have a guest artist who I want to actually say their full name because I really like the art in this. Gerardo Sandoval,
Sandoval.
Sure, let's say it's that one. I'm
Sorry,
really enjoying
human.
this run on Deadpool.
Sorry, human.
if you're unaware of what's happening in Deadpool so far, this run begins with him. Due to an old legal clause, the monsters own Staten Island. Basically, Staten Island, it belongs to the monsters. Deadpool is hired to kill the king of the monsters, which he accomplishes, and he becomes the new king of the monsters, and he has to act in their interest. And that sort of is all covered in issue 1.
Yeah.
And then ongoing is him trying to be king of the monsters. And I've loved this run so far. I think it's a really good example of taking a well-loved established character that's been around for a while and putting them in a new situation. Like, he's not running around being a mercenary, he's a king of a people's, but it really allows him to be himself. It's not like, I'm struggling to think of a comparison right now, but it doesn't put him in a place where he then can't act like Deadpool. Like, he still very much is Deadpool, but he has responsibilities, and he has...
Do they have a dog now that's a shark?
He has a land shark. It's like
Gwenpool's
land
Jeff.
shark.
Yeah.
Jeff the land shark, yeah. He's always been Gwenpool's, but within the first 2 issues, she leaves Jeff with Deadpool, so they have a close relationship. But this issue specifically, I really liked. Basically, there's one giant kaiju-like monster that goes to attack New York, and Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone go to stop him, and Elsa's the world's leading monster hunter. She's like, let's kill this monster, and Deadpool's like, no, let's talk to him first. Let's see if we can convince him to not, because if we just kill him, all the other monsters are just gonna riot. But it gets deep into the what makes a monster a monster? Should you just kill them indiscriminatand? Should you give them the chance? It actually, I got emotional reading it, with what I didn't expect it to go the way it went. And I just thought it was a really good character piece for Deadpool, for what he's been through, the kind of things he's done. Now he's in charge of protecting this group. And even if he wants to protect them, sometimes he's going to have to make hard decisions against them. I just really, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Chris, I recommended it to you because I know you like monster stuff. Did you like it? And please be honest if you didn't.
I do like monster stuff. I thought the monster got fridged.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a character moment for Deadpool, and mostly Deadpool was just arguing that monsters have feelings or motivations, but nothing in this book suggested that it is so. And I thought it was a missed opportunity after you described it, because I expected a little bit more character development out of that. So I was like, oh yeah, a monster thing where we talk about monsters and how great they are. And I was like, oh, Deadpool talks about monsters and how great they are, kills them anyway, and then gets to fuck some chick.
Alright, I definitely understand that perspective. I also don't remember, because it's been so long, what issue 4 was like, so I don't know how well we get to know this monster before this happened.
I mean, I hope well. I liked it in the beginning when he was just playing with Jeff. And
Yeah,
it's
that was
it's
super
a baby.
cute.
So I don't know if there's more monster stuff, and if that's his stance on it, and we're gonna see more of that. I'm definitely interested in the series, but you'd have to give me some monsters that have some thoughts other than just like explosion emojis.
Yeah. And have you read the others leading up to this one or not?
I read issues 1 to 3, I think.
Okay, I think that's as much as I've read. Like I said, I don't remember this monster from issue 4, but he seems like an established monster. So.
I don't know. They said he was like bred of a couple of monsters, so I think he was mostly a background guy.
Okay.
But again, I'm missing issue 4 as well. So. COVID hole.
All right. Well, I think that's a good perspective. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it.
I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't what I expected,
Yeah.
or what I would really get a lot out of in terms of monster stuff. But like you know how I can be about that.
Oh yeah. No, you absolutely.
Yes. We also got. I feel like we should talk about it because everyone's going to talk about it. It's the Joker 80th anniversary. These comics happen. So the anniversary comics come out. They're always 100-page spectaculars. They come with reprints of original covers that were super popular. They come with stories by different like legacy artists and writers. Everyone kind of gets a crack at the character. We got one for Superman. We got one from Catwoman. We got one for Batman. Now we're at the Joker 80th anniversary. So.
Thank God he's getting his time in the sun, because we haven't had enough Joker stuff recently.
It is worth mentioning that this issue brings us the origin of Punchline, Joker's new girlfriend. So that's the reason why people are most excited about this issue.
Do people like Punchline?
Punchline has only appeared.
Oh.
She has not. We have not figured out the full consequences of their plot together. But I believe that also in this week's issue of the regular Batman run, she gets a bigger part in the story. We did not get that issue because we don't have any pull list holders for that title. But we did get this as a one-shot. So actually, a couple of the stories I thought were really good in this issue. There's a what if one-off, and people who have read it will know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to give it away. Where it's sort of like a if Batman died hypothetical universe. I really liked that. There's a story from the perspective of Harley Quinn as she's talking to Poison Ivy that reads a lot like sort of her feelings about it in the new animated series.
Oh, yeah.
So I really enjoyed that, and it's also got the same artist as Deathbed, which we really liked. There's an Azarello at the end. The artist on that one is doing a really great job.
I have to say, I just flipped through it, but it seems like the art.
He didn't punch you at a con or something, did he?
Flipping through this, I feel like some of the art in the stories, not the famous pinups or covers that they put, but some of the new original art in this is art that you wouldn't get in a mainstream Batman title. Like,
yes, yeah.
Which I appreciate.
There's a Fiona Staples pinup that is gorgeous.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah.
And there's a couple other artists too. There's a piece from the Harleen series where he's looking at fractured glass and saw different Joker faces, and it was a really compelling piece that they've reprinted in this.
Boy band Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that they're roping in some of that stuff to the vibe and the canon and the thrill piece of this as an issue. I don't know. It's like kind of a fun. Like, I see the merit in collecting this if you're a Joker fan, because it's such a collection of different stories by different people. Like, it's a good anthology. It's well curated. I'm surprised. I didn't expect to get as much out of it as I did. The Punchline origin story, you'll see it.
I just wish your costume was, like, stand out in some way.
Yeah, I mean...
But
Harley
it's not
Quinn
for me.
is
I wasn't reading it before. I'm not going to read it now. So
Harley Quinn is a hard act to follow, and to be honest, I don't know why anybody has to. Like, the idea that anyone would fall in love with the Joker is confusing to me. But I don't...
Neil Breen exists, I don't know. I think anything's possible.
I'm not... Yeah, I guess for me, like, they do some work with Harley Quinn in terms of, like, explaining why.
Yeah.
You'll read the origin story. You can make your own conclusions about whether or not they do some work in explaining why.
I mean, there's plenty of, like, real life, like, abusive husbands that wives keep going back to for no...
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the initial, like, beginnings. Because that's what we're not necessarily getting the beginnings of when they met, I don't think. But we're getting, like, her origin into, like, being brought into the fold. So, I mean,
Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer got love letters from random people.
Yeah, totally,
yeah, so
totally.
There's a.
It happens. I'm aware that it happens.
There's a vein to dig.
See some of the crazies I've fallen for. It's okay. I don't think they watch this.
I don't know. They might be just crazy enough to spend some time with you every week.
Now that's gotta
On
be
the
crazy.
Right? Oh man. Moving on from my love life. Speaking of love lives, are we gonna dive into this?
It comes back.
It's
a number 1 that's a number 2.
Faithless 2.
Faithless 2
is
number
a
1.
Sequel number 1.
Yes. So we got the first collection. It's fully formed, but now we're getting a second arc. So I don't know. I think you could read this without reading the first one.
Yeah, I think you get the gist of it.
I only read the first issue of the first run and then read this, and like I feel like I understand what's happening. I didn't feel lost. I'll say that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Also, my gut reaction, the very first thing I read was this little subtitle, is an erotic depiction of faith, sex, and the devil in the tradition of the Divine Comedy. Now, this is a personal pet peeve of mine, and if this was written by the creators, when creators liken their own works to seminal works like Divine Comedy, my first reaction is, wow, get the fuck over yourself. That's just honest. Whenever I see any writer comparing their own, like, oh yeah, I think this thing I made is really like The Godfather, or any shit like that. It happens a lot, and I'm always like, shut up. Write your book and let it speak for itself.
Remember when Max Landis was like, Bright's gonna be my Star Wars. Get ready. Will Smith and orcs.
Yeah, I wanted to like that movie so badly.
Me too.
And we saw in one shot, you see like a dragon flying in the sky,
Yeah.
and then they never mention dragons ever.
Yeah, and he's a rapist too, so that's rough.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Come on, stop
Yeah,
doing that.
Grooms people. Anyway, Faithless 2.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's an erotic comic. It deals with the art world and a young girl kind of figuring out how she's going to make her seminal work with the influences around her potentially being the devil.
Yeah, and like other divine figures. Like I think
Yeah.
Solomon's in there, and I forgot what her name was. Was her name Lilith?
No, her girlfriend's name is Poppy.
Poppy, okay.
Yeah, but it's like implied
Poppy
that there's
and
something
Stevie.
else
Yeah.
going on.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a great comic, but I think it's like it at least looks nice and there's like crackly energy to it. I think it's more like the Fight Club of like sex and art. Like these people are these people kind of suck, and they're really pretentious. And but like
Does anybody want to?
So this week in comics, we got Something is Killing the Children, the trade, and we also got a following up issue. So this is the collection, issues 1 to 5. Then, just before COVID, we had gotten issue 6. So if you are all caught up, you should be due for issue 7.
I did
Makes
not
sense.
realize it was James Tynion writing this.
Yes.
Tynion the Fourth.
The 4th.
actually, his name looks cool because like since he has so many Y's and N's, there's a lot of like angular,
Yeah.
and it goes well with the floor.
If I was a fourth, I would sign everything
Yeah.
with Harrison Smith the Fourth.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So this book is, it follows a monster hunter. There's a bit of like a secret monster hunting society, it seems, but mostly it's just her in a small town where sort of like a hive of monsters has gotten too big. So she went to hunt one, turns out it's a mom, there's lots of babies. They've killed a lot of children. So she has to figure out how to deal with them. This is a bit of a reveal issue in terms of some attributes of the creatures and why it's going to be hard to hunt them. Also, there's more bits with the cops investigating the deaths, and they find all the bodies of the other children in this issue and have to reconcile that with the grieving families, which is pretty hard. I really like it. I like monster books, surprising no one. So I'm having a lot of fun reading this. I like that it has a lot of stakes. Sometimes monster things get like too spooky and too gory and rely on that. This is very much like, what if this happened where a bunch of kids had gone missing and they had sort of like written these events off as separate deaths by separate causes, and it turns out they were all kind of like in the same cave, just like ripped apart, and there's no animal they can akin it to, there's just been nothing like it. So I like that we're sort of getting into it now. It feels like parts of this make it feel like that show that we watched that's based on a Stephen King book.
Oh, The Outsider.
Yeah, it's like that, but like if there was just like a monster though.
Outsider and a monster that looked like a person. Very, very apt comparison, because I was also really bored by The Outsider.
I understand that firstly it takes a long time to get there. Secondly, the sort of setup is very much like, you know, it's like got a kid, he has a sleepover, his friends go missing, no one believes what happened, yada yada yada. This girl shows up with like a bandana that has like teeth on it, and she's got like this very like emo look, and is like, I know what's happening, and in that respect, I feel like the setup is not as good as the payoff, because now that we're into the meat of the story, I'm really getting a lot out of it. Whereas at the start, I was like, well, this is my jam. Like, there's monsters and they're gonna hunt it and whatever. I read lots of like Dark Horse small runs that are like this, where it's just like setup, spooky thing, monster, resolution. And this is not gonna be that, and I'm glad, because I think it has a lot to offer in terms of world building.
I just respect that in the first issue of Volume 1, the very first issue, Something's Killing the Children, you see a lot of kids get murdered, like, they don't hide any of it, you see it all happen, and I'm like, I respect you for throwing that up front and not shying away from it.
I guess that's what my issue was with it. You see it happen, and then I didn't even finish it, I'm sorry, so I can't relate, but like, I was just so...
Neither have I.
But I read enough of it, and if I read something I don't even like, and I get to like issue 5, and I just put it down, like, I don't even care what happens in 6. That's kind of what happened with me here.
What, you don't like dead kids, Jay?
No, when I see kids die, I'm like, hooray, kids are dead.
Right, okay.
Let's celebrate.
Same page so far.
Yeah. And then like... and then a lot of the book is them trying to prove that this kid didn't kill them, and I'm like, I know.
It would be better if
So it's
they...
sort of the whole, like, we know something the characters don't, but they're playing it along.
Yeah, and they're like I don't really like any of them. Like, if that kid just went to jail, I'd be like, yeah.
They don't do a good job of making him likable, but that was sort of part of the thing for the kid. That's part of like the complication of it, is that like none of the other kids like him. They were hesitant to go to his house. They akin his sort of like weirdness to like sinister intent in order to reconcile what happened. So I did like parts of that though.
Yeah, and
That the kid is unlikable, and that's sort of why he's being framed for it, and that's also why it was traumatic for him, because people finally hung out with him, and then a monster ate all his friends, and now no one believes him.
Yeah, and all that stuff's great. Like I like if you pitch me that, I'm like, okay, cool. But I know I use this analogy a lot, but if like the beginning of the movie, Bruce Willis died and he came back as a ghost, and then the Sixth Sense just happened.
Yeah.
And then they made the reveal. I'm like, oh, all right, okay.
No, I've never seen The Sixth Sense because I feel like that's a movie that if you know,
I mean,
I'm sure I could enjoy the artfulness of it. For me, I'm such a stickler for spoilers. If someone says, "Oh, this person dies," I'm like, "What? Why'd you say that?" They're like, "I'm kidding. They don't die." I'm like, "Well, no, I know they don't." I don't want to know like anything. But,
none of that ruins anything for me.
but I still like voraciously devour movie trailers, so it's my own fault.
But also, yeah, that too.
I don't do it so much anymore, but I used to hunt down like every single little like 30-second TV spot for like the Marvel and Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And then I'd see it and I'd be like, "Oh, they gave away too much in the trailers." So that's no one's fault but mine.
You just hunted every trailer.
Exactly. No, that was on me.
But like, I don't want to knock it too much because it is a good book. It's just not. It just didn't catch me. That's my thing.
That's fine.
Yeah, that happens.
I like it.
Unlike Decorum.
Whew, I was really excited to get issue 2 only because I really, really wanted to like see if I could discern or glean anything from this world that Hickman has built. And turns out I can't.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Andy Weir, the guy who wrote The Martian.
Yes.
Remember him?
Yes.
He wrote a short story called The Egg, and it's about the universe and how we're all just we're all a part of like a giant rogue consciousness that keeps getting reincarnated until eventually become a new life. Yes, I think he's using that as the bedrock of the mythos of this book. He didn't say any of that, so you're just watching random crazy shit.
Yeah, and then he
Cool
gives you
artwork.
like full
Yeah.
page like breakdowns of like how the hierarchy of the religion works.
Yeah.
And how the universes work. But like I am having such a hard time applying that to the visuals, and often it follows up what it's referring to.
Yeah.
So like I'd have to go back in order to apply this to what just happened, which I'm not gonna do.
Do I need to know that the Bishop General is the personal attaché of Rochi? And if I
Probably.
do, how difficult is that to involve in dialogue?
Maybe,
rather
but
than-
the art's so cool though.
The art
Like,
is
that whole
amazing.
section with the assassin and the she's getting taking a protege on to be a new assassin. I think.
The art in this book and the use of color versus black and white,
Yeah.
I love.
Amazing.
Which is why I'm even more disappointed that we get walls of text. I'm like,
But that's him though too. At the same time, like that's just
that's his X-Men
that's
thing.
his-
It's no
X-Men, he
surprise
did
to
that
anyone
with
here that I hate his doing that.
Black Monday murders. I gave up. I straight up gave up East of West, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait for this to a trade because I really enjoy this. But like, they introduced 7 new characters every issue.
Yeah, and the Beast is gone for like 2 trades. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I thought we were following him around with this balloon.
Oh, what was the balloon's name? Oh, it was named Balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't actually Balloon.
No.
It was a AI that was helping him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to like a sci-fi fantasy thing that deals with assassins and also the creation or possible end of the world, multiple universes, and like singularities, but I can't because I can't apply any of that to the characters or whether or not I like them. I was establishing the main character a little bit in issue 1, and I started to kind of enjoy her, and she's barely in this issue at all. And instead, I have to figure out who the Archbishop Duke of whatever religion I'm supposed to know about to read this book. And I can't do it anymore, guys.
No, but Chris, the universe.
I'll get a Charlie horse. Just thinking about. Oh, sorry, I gotta shift. Got some cute looking all ages titles.
It's true, we got a couple of trades, or a trade and a children's book. We got Gen Pet. This is a future book. It's done very much in the style of an animation about a kid who gets a genetically modified animal and befriends it. It's super duper cute. It's very kinetic. He's trying to escape with his pet and not let anybody know. It's very like the concept of it is kind of
Is the pet a mutant
Iron-
luchador thing?
Iron Giant. It's supposed to be like a couple different animals all cobbled together.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really, really fun. I was pretty excited when we got the solicit for this because it looks amazing. So if you are looking for reading material for your small one, this is a good one.
Or if you're looking for reading material for your even smaller one.
So small one.
We got Lost Beast Found Friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was already forgetting the title. Now, what is it about? I think the back of the book sums it the best. In a village by the sea lives our hero, young Keeley. Beast is fuzzy. Beast is cute. He loves to eat the island fruit. Can Keeley help Beast get back home? Join them as they explore and roam.
Woo! You know, your classic storybook. It rhymes. It's pretty cute. Beast has cute little horns. He gets sad when he's hungry.
Don't we all?
They eat some fruit. It's good.
Very cute.
Love it. Alright, guys.
That was This Week in Comics.
It was This Week in Comics.
Good week.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure you get here early tomorrow morning to get the origin of Punchline in the Joker anniversary.
There's also another Batman's Grave. It's really good.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Batman kicks butt.
7 of 12 and the Batmobile explodes.
And he uses quippy modern lingo, which I still appreciate.
And he also walks by a bunch of people at a bus station who look very confused.
It's such a weird story. I love it.
One of my favorite Batman things is happening.
Yeah, I'm reading this actively. I get excited when I see it. So this is not one of those.
Thanks for listening. And or
looking at it.
Yeah.
Thanks for looking at us. With your eyeballs.
52 times a year.
Wednesday to Wednesday. I be going hard from like Wednesday to Wednesday.
Yeah, hey, pal. You got that one where Superman goes to Supertown? Yeah, I got that when it come out. I like the fourth one.